Today on Grand Thumb, we put science to the test, but more specifically, the Russians. Previously, we've tested Russia's military helmet, but we had a bigger question. What about their actual body armor? So what we have right here is 6B45 Granite, which is the body armor that is in the current Russian military kit. Now, compared to Americans, they have different ratings for what it can handle, but overall, there's a lot of similarities. So we want to know how well it does, because when you hold these plates, they are fairly lightweight. They are fairly thin. How do they compare to the US military plates? How will they compare to other countries' plates? And more importantly, did the Russians lie when they said what it was capable of stopping? You liar! Today on Grand Thumb, we're going to be finding all this out, utilizing a super expensive Phantom camera capable of over 1 million frames a second. We also have a washed up Ranger, John, who is currently getting changed. John, are you ready? No. John, smile. He's smiling. He's good. All right, guys, let's get into it. Now, we can't go any further without talking about the biggest sponsor of the channel, Primary Arms, now out with their brand new HTX1 pistol optic, all made in the USA, and mounts flush so you can use your iron sights. Go check out Primary Arms. They have tons of great optics, great prices. We love them, and they sell everything. And of course, if you're looking to rent that, gosh, this is heavy. If you're looking to rent, if you're looking to buy night vision, the only N words that you can say, Night Vision Network, a big thank you to them. You can buy night vision, you can buy thermal, or you can rent it to try it out. Go and check them out. Of course, we recommend dry fire for training. And what makes you better at dry fire, John? Mantis. That's right, the Mantis system. It will turn your gun into a dry fire machine. We highly recommend it. It's been stolen by all my employees from me. I don't even have one anymore. And of course, all ammunition is provided for by AAC. With all that being said, talk is cheap. Ratnik plates from Russia, expensive Phantom cameras, expensive, just really expensive. Now, there are a huge variety of threats that these plates can take. Now, at the current rating they're at, which is GOST 5A, they should be able to take 1 round of armor-piercing incendiary 7.62 by 39. However, in many publications, they're shown taking much larger rounds, primarily Russian. Now, in case Russian paratroopers invade the US and you're going to have to fight them, we're going to show you using primarily NATO weaponry. But we have a lot of different guns to show here, a lot of different ammo types. We're going to be testing this as thoroughly as possible. So with everything being said, nothing like the now. So a lot of questions revolve around our testing protocol, specifically multiple hits to one plate. Now we're going to pop up this photo from Russian state media showing a plate that was shot multiple times, at the very least 9 with high-powered rifle rounds. So you have to understand, although we are hitting these plates multiple times, it's not specifically compromising the entirety of the plate. John does have his reservations, especially from some of our weapons. That being said, we have 2 of these right here. Now, John, holding this plate right here, how does this compare to the plates that we use in the military?
This is way heavier. It's a lot thinner too.
It's very thin. I thought it was pretty light, like compared to the really nice Lockheed Martin plates that we were issued within SOCOM. These feel lighter than that. But that being said, really? If we compare it to like the ESAPIs that the normal and SAPIs that the normal military are wearing, like these feel roughly comparable and thinner.
You have nothing to say to this? Yeah, because it's so thin, if you're really worried about a round squeaking through, with most carriers, you could probably put like a soft armor backer behind this.
Do you think Russians have access to that?
Maybe.
Russian conscripts?
Not the conscripts.
Okay, well, we're going to test it out, because when I hold this, I really do have a lot of questions about its efficiency to be able to stop rounds. But we've been surprised before. Let's get it done. First up, we've been criticized for going too small. We know it's going to stop at 9mm, but what about if we just step everything up right off the bat? We have a 50 AE Desert Eagle right here firing just a hollow point, so shouldn't do anything, but it should hit with some force. Hopefully, these are made well enough to be able to withstand the hit. Desert Eagle. Okay, John's up.
3, 2, 1, action.
Damn. Piece came back and hit me like right here. This is why you wear iPro.
Okay, stand up. Well, if you were being assaulted by Israeli commandos or someone with the 50 Action Express, looks like you are good to go. All right, so we have our first hit right here. So what's really interesting is always to see the plate makeup. So we do have our ceramic right there with Kevlar or aramid right there. Looks like, oh, Look, you can see the slug right in there. That stopped it real good. This smells like cancer right now, which probably checks. Yeah, that stopped that 50 slug, no problem. So excellent performance. Obviously 50/44 Magnum, obviously a little bit more power with 50 Action Express is a typical protocol in armor testing. So the fact that this stopped it without much problems, a little less than an inch of back force deformation, which is what we want to see. So excellent performance overall. Let's keep stepping it up. Right here we have the Benelli M1 Super 90, which is a super cool shotgun. But more importantly, we're going to test a fairly wicked round. So here's your typical buckshot right here. You guys all seen it, you know it, you love it. Then right here we have one of the Blackwater sabot slugs, which is pretty insane looking. So we're gonna be firing this. It's a steel slug and hits hard. It's going super fast. So this will be great tests for some crazy redneck stuff if the Russians would have parachuted into there. All right, sabot slug. Getting ready to fire. Let me know when, Christian.
All right. And 3, 2, 1, action.
You know what? I just want to give it to the Russians because we did shoot just to the right of it, and you can see people would say that's compromise. It's not. It's fine. It definitely hit it hard, but it caught that no problem. I don't know what happened to that sabot. It is. I think maybe it cancer from like inhaling this stuff.
All kinds of very, very serious illnesses.
That's interesting. So we have that top ceramic, and then we have all these Kevlar layers and their aramid fiber layers. That was neat. Caught it no problem. Who would have thought? All right, let's step it up. Next up, we have our basic AKM with an optic mounted. This is probably going to be one of the more common things that's going to be encountered, not just in the US, but throughout the world. This is a very common rifle, firing a very common round, 7.62 by 3.9. Now, this in particular round is Chinese mild steel core ammo. So this is going to be also a round that is very commonly found throughout the world, as China tends to export a ton of ammunition and weapons. So this is a great test. It should be able to take this no problem. It is simply mild steel core, so let's see how it does. All right, we are loaded up, ready to go. Nice little entrance right there. Really messed up over front ceramic right here, but that caught it absolutely no problem. About the same amount of backface deformation that we saw from the shotgun round. Good performance. Excellent performance, one might say.
These are some of the ceramic crumbles that have fallen out of that plate. Mike's been trying to stop me from eating them. It's actually pretty impressive how this stuff stops like steel core ammo.
Hey, John.
Hey.
Was that a joke about eating?
Yeah.
Now right here we have a common fighting rifle in 5.56. This is the MR556A1, otherwise known as an HK416. Now we're going to be firing M855, otherwise known as SS109. Has a hardened steel core penetrator. Its ability to penetrate steel, somewhat kind of right in the middle. It's a good round, and it is a very ubiquitous round. This is a common fighting round among countries that use 5.56, only recently replaced by M855 Alpha 1 within the United States military, which we'll be testing a little bit later. This is a 13-inch barrel. Let's go ahead and let's try it against Russian armor, a very possible threat that it could face if Russian paratroopers dropped into, the U.S. What do you think? What do you think, John?
I'm going to defend the Burger Town with green tip.
There you have it. We've got our M855 HK416. Okay. The venerable M855 defeated easily by Russian granite armor. Look at that. That looks interesting. You see how it... Such a peculiar look to it. Do you see that? That's crazy looking. You know what's really impressive about this is we haven't really stated it. Now, the Russians did test their plate in this regard, kind of just shooting down the plate. But it is impressive that a plate hit multiple times is still able to withstand. So our backface deformation might begin to look a little bit different as it goes further down. might not be completely indicative of the actual performance, but that is a limitation. We are not smuggling Russian plates in, but they're very difficult to get due to the current export restrictions. So, you know, it's kind of a one of a kind, and we do have two. So just understand there are some unknowns there as far as what our actual back versus deformation will be. But what we just got here from the M855 is excellent. Very little, well under an inch.
Nice.
And I believe the Russian state media states that it needs to be less than 0.6 of an inch of deformation into the plate for it to pass. So looks like it's holding true to it. Let's go ahead and step it up. You train hard, you shoot often, but you know what? You need a reliable source of ammo, and more importantly, you need it when you need it. Ammo Squared is today's sponsor. We want to give them a big thank you. Let's talk about it. Ammo Squared is your ultimate ammunition solution. They are America's ammunition reserve. You can choose from over 70 calibers, set what you want, how much you want to spend per month, and forget about it. There are no minimums, no hidden fees, and if you spend over $250, your shipping is free. So your ammo is stored in a climate-controlled facility, just like we have right here, because this is Ammo Squared's actual facility. Over 11 million rounds of ammo are here, and they are expanding quickly. Join us, join other shooters, other trainers, get in with Ammo Squared. We love them so much, and we can't thank them enough for sponsoring this video. Ammo Squared, your readiness is their mission. Okay, we're letting John do this one. Hopefully he's okay at speaking now.
So M16A4 20-inch barrel versus it's like 13 point something on the 416, right? So 5.56 was originally meant for a 20-inch barrel, and especially considering we're using Alpha 1, it's gonna be screaming out of this thing.
Can you explain Alpha 1 to people who aren't familiar with it, John?
Yeah, so it's a 3-piece projectile with a hardened steel penetrator. The powder mixture, it used to be loaded very, very hot whenever it was first introduced, but they toned it back a little bit. It's just a very, very hot warfighting round. It's very hard on guns. I mean, you shouldn't use steel magazines, but we are today. Gen 3P mags, because they will literally tear up the feed ramps in the gun because the steel penetrator is a harder steel than the gun.
M16A4 can have some steel ammo as a treat. Yeah, I'll be a-okay for it. Well, we're gonna shoot it. This is actually, it might not seem like it would be a really hard test, but M855 Alpha 1 out of a 20-inch is extremely devastating. So can't wait to see it. John, I think there's a chance this is gonna go through.
To be honest, no,
I've shot through level 4 with M855 Alpha 1 out of 20.
You haven't.
Yes, I have.
So right now, I'm more or less my dad in Iraq 03. So shout out to Dad.
All right, in 3, 2, 1.
I could smell that. Did it stop it?
Yeah, it stopped it.
Woo! That's a good bulb right there.
Look, the Kit Kats are doing their job.
All right, looks like even with an M16 Alpha 1, she stopped it. Excellent performance. Right here we have our Fulton Armory M14 EBR, Enhanced Battle Rifle. If you've played any type of video games, if you'd all love guns, you know how cool this thing is. This is firing a 308. Now today, we're gonna be starting with M80 ball, which is a 149 grain projectile traveling around 2,800 feet per second. That is cooking. We'll then be using a more powerful round, which I'll show you right after this. So, great test, 18-inch barrel. This thing rocks. Let's see how Russian armor stands up to 308. Based on the Gauss 5A rating of this granite armor, this is actually the first round that might go through. John, predictions?
Honestly, I don't think it's going to go through that or the M80A1.
Really? Yeah. Okay, let's find out. All right, M14 EBR 308 basic M80 ball.
In 3, 2, 1, action.
Oh, it caught it, dude.
Oh,
I mean, that's some serious backface deformation.
I saw that and I thought it went through.
So it pushed some of the ceramic. It did not enter. No, where did the rest of the armor go?
Oh.
Okay, that's like the top.
Yeah, so this is girls when you tell them to just calm down.
Okay. There's the hit. Yeah. It stopped that.
Is it in there?
No, it looks like it disintegrated in there. Well, no, I don't feel it in there. Must have disintegrated, or part of the slug must have exited. Might be a piece of the jacket right there. It's hard to say. Well, this plate is done from all the shooting that we've done, but I think we've learned some pretty good things. That's even a fully compromised plate, multiple hits, still stopped 308. Let's go ahead and step it up and see what we get.
All right, so here's M80 ball. It's like the most basic bullet ever. Just copper jacket, lead core, out of an 18-inch barrel, 149 grains going around 2,700 feet per second, something like that. Relatively recently, the Army replaced it with M80 Alpha 1. So really the only difference is this is a 3-piece projectile. So copper jacket, of course, a steel penetrator at the top, and then the bottom half of the core is just a copper slug. People think this is like crazy armor piercing stuff, but the penetration of this round is a bit overhyped. It is a little bit better than regular M80, but M61 black tip is going to be a better performer. This is just a better general purpose warfighting round.
John, did you blame Escape from Tarkov for overhyping that round?
Yeah, definitely. They put the pin way too high on this round.
There you have it. Nikita, Escape from Tarkov, just figure it out.
M80A1. To be honest, I don't think this is going to go through. It might. I'd say like 25% chance that it actually does.
Yep, load up. It's all on you, buddy. Dang.
Yeah, stop this.
You know what?
That's good. That's excellent performance. See some of the copper jacket right there. Oh, it's still hot. Look at that.
Dang. You know what? I had a lot of reservations due to the weight and the thinness of these plates, but the performance so far is definitely lining up with what they said it would be, maybe even above it.
Yeah, I mean, it stopped M80A1, but I do think the black tip 30-06 is going to smoke these things.
Well, you know, if it doesn't, then it's level 4 according to NIJ standards, and would be ESAPI standards. So interesting to find out. Now, as a quick aside, funny enough, military plates actually don't go by NIJ standards. They actually go by their own standards, being primarily based off SAPI, ESAPI, XSAPI. So the next test that we're going to do does fall within NIJ standards, which is going to be 30-06 armor piercing. If it stops 30-06 armor piercing, then this will be considered a level 4. It's not advertised as such. And there is a GOST 6A granite plate. We do not have those, as we're a little bit more difficult to get a hold of. But I have seen the GOST 5As potentially stop them. More specifically, a 7.62 by 5.4R armor piercing round out in SVD, which is roughly equivalent to what we'll be shooting. Once again, here to kill commies, the M1 Garand. All enemies of the U.S. beware, this thing has fought in almost every war because, well, we gave a lot of them out. But you know what? More importantly, this is one of the tests that is used within the NIJ standard, which is American-based. That standard states that armor must withstand 1 round of 30-06 armor piercing, which we have right here. And if it can stop it, that will be considered level 4. M1 Garand. Let's go. This has defeated other armor previously, so let's see how it does. This is the Russian paratrooper running into the angry Korean war vet who just smokes him with an M1 Garand that he stole. Get off my lawn. I think this is putting it into the ground once and for all.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I think it's going to do it.
AP 30-06.
M1 Garand 30-06 armor piercing.
In 3, 2, 1, action.
Oh my god, I think it stopped it.
No way.
Yeah, it stopped it. It did a lot. But yeah, that caught it.
He'll live, he just won't have a rib cage anymore.
Yeah, that's a lot of backface deformation. Technically, it'd be a fail based on that. But realistically speaking, this did stop the round. That's very impressive. That would be a level, technically a level 4, because that did stop it. How interesting. I did not expect that level of performance.
I expected it to go through, to be honest.
Yeah, so did I. This has defeated armor before, so I really thought it would defeat it. So right here we have the Mark 13. Imagine you, as a Russian paratrooper, you're walking up and you run into a guy with a sniper rifle and he pops you with the round. So it is 300 Winchester Magnum. So if you take a look at those, on the right here in my hand, we have the 308, and the much larger round is the 300 Winchester Magnum. It is pushing some major velocity. This is military ammo that we have right here. So we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna try it out. It isn't armor piercing, but I'm just kind of interested to know what's gonna happen. I don't know. Cool. Mark 13, Mod 5. Okay. Well, it stopped it. You know what? Russian armor. Let's talk about it. All right, let's finish up. Let's talk about the performance of these Russian plates. I have to say, pretty good. They did a lot better than I thought they would. And I like doing these types of comparisons and these types of ballistic tests because oftentimes I think it's very easy being American and having a fairly, good technologically advanced military to assume that our adversaries or potential adversaries don't have the same technology. But I think this very well proves that their ballistic technology, especially for their mass issued plates to their soldiers, perform extremely well. This is something that you need to consider in whatever you might get yourself into, because you never know who you might be facing, even if they're outfitted by the Russian military. Their plates, from everything that we've seen, definitely are level 4, maybe even above level 4. So the actual ability of it to stop rounds is very good, and they're both lightweight and thin. And this is a randomized sample that we were able to procure from Ukraine's. God knows what this went through before it got to the United States. John, what are your thoughts?
I mean, very impressive Russian stuff, especially like their kit. Usually think lower quality right off the bat, but
yeah,
this really performed very well, especially with the 30-06 armor piercing. I expected that to go through, and it stopped it just fine. It's not the lightest thing in the world, but it's really not that heavy. It's also multi-curve. It's impressive.
It's a well-made plate. So interesting results. Yeah, good on them. Good plates. So don't underestimate your enemy. Don't underestimate anybody who might be having one of these. They are quite good. Guys, the final thing we're going to say for you is going to be training. Make sure that you're training. We don't care if you have Russian plates, you have American plates. Make sure that you are actually making yourself dangerous. Just having good armor isn't going to be enough. Being well trained is what really matters. Thank you so much for watching. That's the final thing we have for you guys. Final thing for you guys is going to be a little bit of dad advice with John, who might be a dad, we don't know.
Yeah, just go pet your dog.
There you go. Your dog loves being pet. Doesn't mean toes.